What's up and welcome to episode 2 of the What's Up Gwent podcast, a new fortnightly show where we dive into the world of Gwent. We chat about current metas, we chat about decks, we chat about current topics, and we kind of just have fun talking about Gwent. And it's kind of based around the Team Rank Star or TRS community, but who knows, in the future we can definitely have some other guests on. And as I said last episode, we don't call them guests on this show, they are more heroes, because everyone who plays Gwent is definitely a hero. And two heroes joining me this week, or this episode, is Semper and Vil. If we kick over to Semper straight away, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing fine, thanks, Woody. How are you?
All good, man, all good, man. And I think Vil's there, banging some stuff around.
Yeah.
Yeah, you all good, Vil?
Yep, doing fun.
Good stuff. How's the week been for you, gentlemen?
It's been a lot of prepping for the current tournament that's going to come this weekend.
Yes.
We're both prepping together, so...
Yeah, you and Vil are working as like a team, aren't you? Kind of prepping together, like you said.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, which I will mention in a minute about the tournament, because there's a reason we're recording this show slightly early, and that is for that tournament. But yeah, Vil, you've been off, haven't you, buddy?
Wait, what? I missed that.
You've been kind of on holiday, is that right, bud? You've been kind of relaxing out, chilling?
Yep. Just getting ready.
Nice.
For the tournament.
For the tournament, nice. And I love it how Semper, guys, was so casual and like, yeah, it's just been another week. He actually was in New York for a little bit of it, but, you know, it's just casual. He goes to New York casually, so...
the grind never stops.
That's it, mate. That is it, guys. But as we do with every new guest, and I'm sure you guys won't be new in the future, or new hero, as I should say, we like to know a little bit about them. So who they are in terms of the world of Gwent, do they create content, and more importantly, what is their favourite faction? So again, I'm going to kick over to Semper first, dude. Again, who are you in the world of Gwent, and what's your favourite faction?
Well, obviously I'm SemperEU, I am the TRS competitive captain. My favourite faction is Skellige.
Oh, cool. Any reason why?
Probably I don't know, in beta, I kind of like transitioned from deck to deck when I was learning the game, because I only started very, very late on in Gwent, around August, 2 months before homecoming.
Yeah. And
then I found veterans, and that was like the deck that I've loved the most.
Nice.
And I just transitioned from there into homecoming.
Nice. So there's nothing to do being a glory hunter or anything like that. Just
glory hunter.
No. You're a City fan as well, is that right?
Yeah, you have to bring that up.
And Vil. So Vil, who are you in the world of Gwent, dude? What content do you create? And again, favourite faction, buddy?
Okay, my favourite faction, that would be probably Nilfgaard, even though it's not the greatest right now.
Yes.
It's probably the most fun I have. That is, like, I'm not a fan of Usurper, that's for sure, but all the other decks pretty much go. I'm sure you Woody said about that one. But yeah, I create some bar content here and there, like stream maybe Mondays usually, and then Wednesdays, Thursdays, and then usually Saturday with Baby Joseph.
Nice. And where can people find your stream, buddy?
Twitch.tv/Ville, and then that's KSK.
Yep, Vil, VilleKSK.
Yep.
Nice. Good stuff, gents. Well, I sent you guys the itinerary for today's podcast a little while ago, so you've got a chance to kind of get your own ideas around it. So I should let our listeners know what they can expect this episode. So first topic, we're going to be jumping into the Jason Slama Q&A. So there was a Q&A that went out live about 3 or 4 days ago as of recording this. And Jason Slama responded to some questions that were thrown at him. And we're going to kind of jump into what we thought about the Q&A. Did it any kind of answer anything that we wanted to know? And then the more main topic, should I say, topic 2 is going to be around about bronze card buff. So we're going to be talking about each of the heroes has had a faction to kind of find 3 cards that they think could benefit with a bronze buff and come up with their own buff. There's a kind of very small little competition in it in terms of if they do get any right that, so say they make a change and CDPR actually make that change, then there's prizes. You know, guys, points mean prizes. One thing I'll say before we jump into it, we are recording this podcast slightly early, guys, because the Novigrad Knockout Tournament, hosted by Team Rankstar, is happening this weekend. As you're listening to this, the competition would have been over, it had been finished, but because we wanted to prep for that, we are slightly early. So if, and chances are they probably will, because in my experience of podcasting, this always happens, CDPR will come out and say, here you go, guys, here's the bronze changes. If you're listening to this and thinking, why on earth are these guys not speaking about those bronze changes? It's because we did not know they existed, basically. We're recording this pre-CDPR announcing anything. So that's why these bronze buffs may be different to what CDPR actually said, and why we're not touching on that topic. But should we jump into to topic one then, gents?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So as I said, Jason Slama sat down and answered some questions that were thrown at him by River Twain, or it's at River Twain is their name, who is the forum moderator for CDPR, which is quite an important title to remember that they are for CDPR as we get into this section, and answer some questions thrown at them. There was a list of questions. It takes probably about 10-15 minutes to read through the whole Q&A, and the questions ranged from the current state of Gwent to how Gwent transitioned from beta to homecoming to the future state of Gwent to some of Jason Slama's kind of personal feelings for Gwent or maybe personal things I want to see in Gwent. So yeah, gents, I'm assuming you guys read the Q&A.
I did indeed.
Yep.
Cool. So before we kind of really shoot a fight on it, what did you think to it just generally as a Q&A?
Overall, without talking about my personal thing about it, I think it was a decent Q&A.
Yep.
Yeah, same here. There were some topics that I shed light into, which I found quite interesting, but then there were some things I would have liked to hear about, but really didn't. So
yeah, but the main things that we want to hear about, the competitive players, is the stuff that we're just not going to get told. That's why it was slightly disappointing, I suppose.
Yeah, well, I think overall, and maybe I'm slightly biased here because I mean I've had the privileged position of working in a press sector for several years now. But if I'm being completely honest, I thought the Q&A was absolutely okay, and the reason I thought it was only okay is it was way too safe. It was a very, very safe Q&A.
It was definitely safe. I mean, don't get me wrong, I have a lot of respect for Jason Slama because he's got he's got Gwent. It's his passion. So we've got Gwent in the correct hands, and obviously getting a bit of background story on the guy that's behind Gwent is always a good thing.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, and I just want to quickly highlight this now. There's nothing against. So Jason Slama answered the questions very well that he was given. Now, the reason I feel it was safe is because, as I go back to who I said gave these questions, this is the forum moderator for CDPR. This isn't an external person. This is someone in CDPR who's been told, oh yeah, maybe shed some light on these dark areas in Gwent, and we'll just do a Q&A that someone who is inside is going to do the questions for. Realistically, apart from learning stuff about Jason Slama as an individual and about passion for Gwent, did we actually learn anything?
For me personally, probably not, because it's not really my interest. I'm not really, but obviously I've never played The Witches, as some teammates know, so lore doesn't really grip my attention. If I wanted to kind of go back to where Gwent transitioned from beta to homecoming, it's for a lot of people who played it, they kind of know that anyway. Yeah. And then how cards are created, again, I don't think that doesn't really take my interest. So the only reason I wanted to, I literally scrolled through that interview just hoping for the competitive Master Season question. It came up, and it was obviously a very, very short answer that wasn't really
didn't
good
give
for
anything,
me.
No.
Yeah.
Vil?
Yeah, same here. I was more or less hoping for the competitive stuff, and yeah, there really wasn't any light into that. I don't really care about the development in that sense. I just care or start caring when something goes horribly wrong, and then I'm gonna put my opinion out. But I don't see there's actually anything horribly wrong right now, so I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut.
That's fair enough. So for me, I feel like dropped the ball in 3 different areas. Now, us three sitting here can all talk about the competitive side, because I mean I'm new to competitive side. You guys are a little bit more veteran side on the competitive side, and I completely get that. And there'll be some listeners who maybe only play 3-4 hours of Gwent a week, and they'll be like, well, I don't care about the competitive side, which is completely fair. But for me, the 3 areas they dropped the ball was, one on the competitive side, because that is a big group of fans. 2 on the I'm going to call it lost player side, because let's be honest, since going to Homecoming, Gwent has lost some very big names, like obviously Life Coach. You got some Mogwai. There's some big names that have just dropped the game and moved elsewhere. They dropped the ball there because the question was asked, what would you say to people who should get back in the game now? And it was like the most PR boring stale answer you've ever heard. It's like, it's a cheap game to play and it's fun and it's tactically decision making. Like, that's nonsense. That's nonsense. And 3, the third place they dropped the ball, is for me the future of Gwent. And now this is something we're all interested in. I'm not saying announce the next expansion. I'm not saying anything like that. But they were so blasé, in my opinion, on when asked about, other stuff coming to Gwent. There's nothing wrong with saying, well, actually, do you know what? We want to bring this faction in. We want to work around this region of The Witcher. We want to look at this book of The Witcher, actually, and see if there's anything we can do with this. They're not making promises, but they're just saying the stuff that they want to do. And I feel like people reading that will definitely take away how much Jason Slama appreciates and is passionate for Gwent. But I feel like also people walk away from that feeling like, well, what was the point of it? What do we learn?
I mean, with regards to point 2, we're dropping the ball with the previous players. As much as Mogwai, Life Coach were big personalities in Gwent, and obviously Mogwai is quite a popular streamer. At the end of the day, they can be someone's going to replace them.
Oh no, definitely agreed.
So so let's say Life Coach was the number 1 player back in the day. I wasn't actually playing when Life Coach was playing. But obviously, someone takes his spot. If 100 people left, there's always going to be another top 100.
Yes.
I know that's sometimes not healthy for the game, but it's always good as long as you can maintain bringing new players into the game or current players stepping up and realising that they want to play competitively. Regarding the 3rd point, which you said they dropped the ball on, which was
about future the future of Gwent. What's planned? What's in the pipeline for Gwent?
All right. Regarding that, they need to get some of the basics done first. If they get the basics done now, they keep the current player base happy.
Yeah, which they did say that. They did say, didn't they, that the reason they went to Homecoming is because it was a lot simpler, not so much engine, but format to be able to make adjustments and keep things constantly feeling fresh.
Yeah, with regarding to the monthly updates and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But they're still missing certain basics. Obviously, this is just me talking as a competitive player again.
Fire away, man.
But you don't have the option to appear offline. So some players kind of like that.
Yep.
You also spectator mode. Spectator mode is the single most important thing they could probably put in this game. It makes community tournaments so much better. It will make obviously they've already made it because they showed it off in Open 8, which was 4 months ago. Why is it not in the game yet and improving the community tournament and making us all happy?
Yeah. Yeah, no,
it's so simple. Simple.
I do agree. Well, yeah, I mean, it's simple to say to put it in the game. Obviously, there is a development process there for it. But, yeah, I agree. I mean, and they did mention, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure they mentioned a little while ago on a dev stream that they have got a Twitch plugin coming, haven't they, where basically Twitch watchers can hover over the card to see what that card actually does, so people who are new to the game can see what the abilities of cards are, which is great, but I think I would take spectator mode before that plugin.
Yeah, these are changes that are super good for the community and should have been done way earlier, in my opinion. And I don't know shit about programming or anything, but I feel like it's not that hard to implement such things. And honestly, it might not affect the viewership that much, but even if we have that thing on Twitch, for example, I think it would encourage way many new players to watch Gwent, play Gwent, because they would know what's going on without having to ask 1 million times the streamer what's going on.
Yeah. It makes the game more accessible, doesn't it? And that's the big thing, because I don't want to some people. I mean, I'm part of, as you guys probably are, 4 or 5 different Discords associated with Gwent. And there's some real like doom and gloom comments out there from some people saying that Gwent is just dying and no one's playing the game. I mean, people clearly are playing the game. Like, you only have to look on Pro Ladder and like, I don't play the game for 4 or 5 days. How many spaces I've dropped down to show that people are clearly playing this game. And just when I stream it, how many people stop by? Or like today I was streaming The Witcher, and still people got to stop by. I've never seen a stream before, and they're Gwent players. So there's definitely people playing the game. But I do think Gwent is still, it's still just being held back. There's a reason it isn't getting as many players as other CCGs out there at the moment. And I'm not saying the realms of Magic the Gathering, because you're competing with 20 years of history there. You're never going to, like, that's not a competitor. I don't think they can see Magic the Gathering as a competitor. That's its own entity. Almost like Hearthstone, like that's its own entity. But the other CCGs, I still feel like Gwent is kind of in the middle of those. I do, however, think with its design, with its gameplay and everything else, it can be at the forefront. I just want CDPR. Out of this Q&A, basically what I wanted from this Q&A was I wanted something a bit more proactive, a little bit more like, don't worry guys, we got your back here. This is coming in, this is coming in, this is what we want to do, this is what we want to do. It just felt like it was a very safe PR stunt, for lack of a better term. And I felt like it was really not that needed, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I feel like, I suppose you are probably correct with that. I suppose it's a different approach if they put more important questions in there that people wanted answering.
Yeah.
Like, then it is needed, right? It's like if you're giving the community information, which the community wants, then it's always a positive.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I mean, like I said, that was just a kind of a chew to fat on the Q&A. But before we kind of move on, Vil or Semper, you guys got anything you want to add about the Q&A before we move on?
Not about anything, but what I want to say is I want to a bit defend the guy who was doing the interviewing part, because you can't poke the bear. If you poke the bear and ask Slama something really big, the chances are the quality of the interview just goes downhill instantly, because then you make the guy angry and you get nothing out of him. Oh,
I agree. No, yeah, my only issue was the guy who's doing an interview was someone who's employed by CDPR. That makes sense. So it's not. Basically, what I'm saying is the questions are always going to be safe because it was an internal interview. It wasn't like an actual external interview. So there was never going to be those awkward questions asked. And I feel like sometimes there's a reason the big interviewers get paid big money, because they ask the awkward questions.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, listeners, if you guys got anything about the Q&A, then let us know. If you're watching on YouTube, the best thing to do is just throw it down in the comments below. I will feed it back to the guys on this show, and I'll maybe respond to it in the next episode. Or there's also a link in the Discord. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link in the Discord in the comments in the description. Or if you're listening on iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, then also there's a link in the description there. You can head over to the Discord. It's called a WUG. What's up, Gwent? Because we're cool and we like to abbreviate. There's called a WUG feedback section, and just throw your feedback in there, and we will definitely chat about that. But gents, should we move on to the main topic, the real meat of this episode?
Let's go for it.
The What's Up Gwent podcast is brought to you by Inked Gaming. Now, we all love sitting down opposite a friend to dive into some CCG or maybe even tabletop gaming action. And Inked Gaming lets you take that experience to the next level with full custom playmats. They've got playmats, large playmats, board game mats, wargaming mats, and even a size variety of PC mouse mats. It's not just about being great at your game, guys. It's also about looking damn good while you own it. And that's exactly what inkedgaming.com offers with their selection of custom gaming mats. And that's not all. Head over to inkedgaming.com now and use code TRS12 to get 12% off your first order. Looking good while you play just got cheaper. inkedgaming.com using the code TRS12 for 12% off your first order.
So the main bulk of this podcast is probably going to be taken up by something that I think everyone who plays Gwent is pretty excited by towards, well, we hope the end of this month. And we're pretty sure we will get to see some stuff at the end of this month. And that is some bronze changes that were announced way back on the 1st of July. A tweet by Jason Slama himself, who said basically that rather than nerfing Syndicate and Skellige cards down, they're looking to bring other faction bronzes up in line to match Syndicate and Skellige, which to many people's almost surprise was a really good announcement. People were like, thank God. Okay, that's what we want. We don't want to this culling of cards needs to stop. Let's just bring other cards up in line with it. Do you guys agree that was a good approach to go down?
Yeah, I mean,
agreed completely. If you keep nerfing cards, it's gonna be a cycle that's never gonna end, because there's always the card that's better than the other, and people start complaining about it.
Yeah, agreed. Completely agreed. Semper, you were going to say something, buddy?
Yeah, I agree with 100%. That's the right strategy to go for.
Cool.
Like, I've been slating the whole let's nerf every card.
Yeah.
Every time it's good. Like, I never agree with the original Unicorn Cairo nerf. Like, just because they were in most decks, it doesn't mean that they need to be nerfed. Like, some cards have to be good in the game. You can't just go and nerf every card.
I mean, this is controversial, and people will hate me for saying this. I disagreed with not so much the nerf, but definitely the way they nerfed Sea Hill. I did not want to see that card dead.
I was so happy when that happened.
But don't get me wrong, the card needed an adjustment, but I think just being able to lock it would have been fine. Or making there was a soldier on the play. But the way they'd done it, literally they took a card and literally they might as well take the card out of the game. There's literally no point having that card in the game, which for me, being critical, it's just bad design. There's no point making cards that aren't going to be played. So
but that card was out of hand and it needed dealing with in a strong way.
It definitely needed a nerf, but like I said, I think there was a lot better nerfs they could have done that made it made the setup a lot harder, but still the reward there, rather than just literally going, just like I said, they might as well have deleted the card, to be honest, the way they nerfed it. But yeah, so enough of Sea Hill before we lose all our listeners and people get too pissed off. The only people we'll still be here is Northern Realms, because they're looking for anything at the moment, aren't they? Let's jump into the bronze card buff. So I thought it'd be a bit of fun to throw over to our heroes some the different factions. So we threw Semper, the tough challenge of monsters, and Ville we threw Scoia'tael, and asked them basically to buff 3 cards of their complete choice from that faction and kind of explain why they'd buff it. Yeah, so we threw them over 3 cards and completely they make up their choice of what cards they want to choose to maybe make numeral changes or changes to fit in with synergy of the faction. So because I had 2 factions to go through and you guys had 1, I'm going to kick us off with 1 faction, then we'll send over to Semper, then we'll go Ville, and then we'll come back to myself, and then we'll chat about bronzes as general. How does that sound, boys?
Sounds good.
Cool. So I'm going to kick off with the absolute laddish, or ladette, depending who's listening, faction, the mighty Nilfgaard. Oh, what heroes they are. I went pretty simple on the first one, to be honest. Slave Driver, Slave Driver, damage a unit by 2, increases by 1 for every locked target. I personally think I would like to see it just a nice simple change, damage it by 2 for every lock. Very rarely are there more than 2 locks on the board, so very rarely you're going to get more than 6 value off the card. 4 for 6 is pretty much what you're getting off most Syndicate or Skellige at the moment. I mean, what do you guys think to that?
It might be a little extreme.
Do you think damaging for 2 for each lock?
Obviously, I can only go this is based off my tournament experience, because that's the only time I really played Nilfgaard a lot. And when I was playing Usurper in my tournaments, my Slave Driver was hitting 6 locks, so I was getting 8 value off it then.
Okay.
So in a very heavy lock styled deck, that Slave Driver is ridiculous.
Don't get me wrong, it definitely is. But the issue with running heavy lock archetype decks are they completely struggle with tempo, don't they? So you're losing that tempo to then gain tempo back on Slave Driver. Do you think that's a counter argument available?
But then you've got the instance of, obviously, if it's not a heavy lock deck, if you just, let's say you're playing against Franny Waters and you want to super lock all 4 Dryads that come out of Water of Broccolon, then your Slave Driver's already playing for 10.
But how's that any different to Witch Hunter Executioner?
Yeah, but
I know, I'm saying that as a joke because I know how much you hate that card. Basically what I'm saying is we take stuff like Sea Jackal, which is 4 for 4. That card never comes out for 4. That card pops to 7 or 10 within an instant. And realistically, when it gets over 8-10 damage,
yeah, I mean, you're not often going to hit an 8 or a 10. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I feel like just on them odd instances, it probably makes it too good.
Okay.
But that's just my opinion.
Fair. That's completely fair. Next up, I went with Slave Hunter. Do you guys know this card? You play it on either the melee or ranged row, but then if there's 4 units on the opposite row, seize the lowest unit on that row.
Yeah.
The way I changed this was I would make it a spying card. Play it
A what?
a spying card. So you're playing into the
Oh,
spying
spying.
archetype. Yeah, spying card. So you play it onto their side, and then once you play it on that row, you seize exact same mechanic. You just seize the lowest unit on that row. The reason I would make it spying is because I then feel like you're playing. It doesn't actually get any more value in terms of face value, and technically actually lose it because you're giving them points. But then synergizing with other like spying decks, synergizing with, I can't remember the cards that ping for 2 every time and gain a charge every time you play a spying card. Like you start gaining synergy within an actual archetype of spying, and then you're getting that tempo off the seas. What do you guys think to that Slave Hunter change?
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. Like, it supports the spy system a bit, which really isn't. I mean, there are there's like a decent amount of spy cards, but none of them stick. None of them are like really good.
Yeah.
Which is also like another thing. Like they're super easily dealt with. Which like I won't get into this, but basically, I think the spy thing needs a bit of a rework in a way that they will get absolutely wrecked, and they also like need more spy cards that do like boost or damage, right? It's just boring if you have only spy cards that boost or damage. So I actually quite like this change.
Okay, nice. It was more a case of playing into an archetype, and I feel like Nilfgaard struggle the most at the moment for having an identity, like because they do lots of little things quite well, but they don't do one thing very well. I feel like actually leaning into the archetypes and giving players the cards to actually maybe make a legitimately good spy deck. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
It wasn't there an issue in beta though with spies? Like didn't it start off very? I don't know. I can't put this.
There used
like
to
when there was a lot of complaining about spies in beta, because obviously I wasn't playing that much back then.
Yeah,
and obviously I didn't play. But
I wasn't playing it either. But I've heard that they were a little bit broken.
Yeah, well, I played a lot in beta. So spies were things that people like to complain about because they were basically like the strongest deck at one point. It's like everyone complains about the strongest deck like all the time. But the real problem back then was like the card Impera Enforcers would basically go for like it has 6 body and bear in mind beta Gwent, very different state. You wouldn't have as much removal in your decks as you have now. So those guys tend to stick on board at least 1 or 2, and for each buy you played, it would basically deal 2 damage, right? So the card for bronze card back then, okay, obviously it was no comparison to Viper Witches when they got released, but this was way before Viper Witch. Like the problem with those cards were that they were basically bronze cards that if your opponent simply couldn't deal with them, they would win you the round and probably win you the game. And this is why people complain about them. Then they got nerfed. Again, nerfed. This is the big word. And they basically made the card unplayable because you would get like maybe 2, 4, 6 damage if you were really wishful off of those guys.
Okay.
And the card was maybe a bit too strong for what it was at the beginning, but when they nerfed it and it wouldn't ping before it actually was on the board, made the cards way less, like made it way worse. Some people just stopped playing it, and not only that, but then like I said, Viper Riches became a thing, and Alchemy and Nilfgaard just wrecked everything, right? So
fair dues. Cool. And I'll move on to my final card then for Nilfgaard. And this is playing into an archetype that I know Semper absolutely loves. So Alba Spearmen at the moment have very bizarrely a reach of 1, which makes them absolute jank. And they are the guys that damage for 2, increase the damage by 1 for each adjacent soldier. So the maximum value getting them out of them is going to be 6 because they come out for a 2 body. So and you're limited to a reach of 1, which there's a reason no one plays them. I would increase the reach to 2. I'd make him a 3 body for 5 provisions. Damage for 2, again, increase by 1 for each adjacent soldier, so they still get the same value. But I would make the lovely mechanic of Death Blow. The enemy discards a top card from their deck because we need more mill.
No, we don't need more mill.
It's as simple as that. We would like, why not? Like, yeah, I think that's a perfect mechanic. Just being able to one clear opponent's unit and then just see that top card disappear, and it's like a Regis or something. You're just like, this is blissful. This is why I play Mill.
And now I know why you chose to do the Nilfgaard cards. I'm sorry, but Mill is the most aggregating thing I've ever played against. I've played multiple CCGs. I've hated Mill in every single one of them. I will never ever want to see that archetype rise again. That's all I'm saying on Mill.
I mean, to be fair, Mill isn't that great at the moment, so I could say, I could see it if you're a Mill fan, then you would want to see more cards that enable that sort of playstyle. But yeah, I don't like it either. Like, if there was something I auto-conceded against back in, for example, beta, was Emia Mill, I couldn't stand that deck at all.
See, when I play against Mill, I just take my hat off and just go, thank you so much for playing Mill. You are a hero. But before we piss people off, God, talking about Sea Hill and talking about Mill, Jesus Christ, don't have anyone left listening, I get my words out now, by the end of this episode. So we go over to the Mighty Man Semper do. So you had monsters. What did you manage to mix up over there?
I did, in fact, have monsters, and I found it extremely hard to think of 3 cards to change. I changed 1 card, and I'll go into a different conversation after the card that I spoke about.
That's cool.
So, the card that I changed was Garkan, which is 4 for 4, damage and enemy units by the amount of bleeding it has.
Yep.
The card is terrible. The card will never be played because it's pointless. So I changed it to something that's quite interesting, I think, would be same power, same provisions, but change the ability to give an allied unit Thrive.
Yeah, that's good.
Sounds like an interesting card that would actually support the Thrive gameplay without it being a Thrive card itself. It's actually quite I kind of like the sound of that.
Yeah, Semper, go get a game designer job, dude, over at CDPR, man. That's cool, because you can throw Thrive on like a 5 cost, which is harder for them to remove. If they can't remove it and they damage it down to like 1, then that's useless because it's going to pop back with Thrive. But then you get 2 units out and you get 2 extra value off that Thrive card. Yeah, I think that's brilliant. I think that's a great change.
One question I do have regarding this card is, if you were to play it as a 4, and you gave Thrive to a 3, would the 3 then get boosted by the 4? Or does it get played first before the ability goes out?
I feel like it works the same as Swears, right? If you steal a 2 with Swears, it buffs by 1.
True.
So I'd say it buff it. So like the way I came up with the card was, it doesn't matter if you had it in round 3, because then let's say you started building up, and then you played your Proto Flooder, you could give Proto Flooder a 5, which is safe. And then if you played 4 big units, like a big wooden wood or Guernica wood, then you're still getting value out of your 4 provision card that's still in your hand.
Yeah, I like that, Semper.
That was the one card that I changed. I found the 5 keyword to be very hard to change within a lot of monsters. So I decided that another change that Monster needed to do to kind of balance its way out, especially with the bronzes, was to change the dominance keyword, like back the way it was before it got changed.
Yeah, I agree.
So it makes like, I know riders are still playable, but it makes them a more consistent thinning. You have Wild and Hounds, which kind of helps you with your Northern Realms matchup, because then you don't have to play them with the tallest unit.
Yep.
Ada Striga kind of becomes more playable because it gives you, again, another removal kind of target. So I kind of like the dominance before it got changed. I would revert that back.
I would, I completely agree. The only thing I would say is on Count Caldwell, I would keep it as the way it is at the moment.
Yes, I agree with that.
On Count Caldwell, but other than that, I think, I completely agree. I think the way they change dominance, it makes some decks feel very clunky. Like, Gurney's fine, because if you got first turn, you can throw Fruit out and then play Riders. But if you're playing any other monsters deck, like, Riders can feel very, very clunky.
I mean, the fellow monsters kind of happy with that dominance change, right?
Yeah.
They just turned into AQ. And a lot of people wasn't even playing monsters, so, like, for me, it's like, it's only just, it's behind Nilfgaard in the faction thing, so I feel like they changed the dominance and then a few more card changes, possibly the can change, who knows if you're listening.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I really loved the card change, and I agree. I think taking dominance back to the way it was will definitely bolster monsters more at the moment. Phil, what do you reckon about that, dude?
I mean, let's say I like the idea. Yeah. I mean, I really like. I have. Okay, let's be honest. Monsters is probably one of my least favorite factions. I rarely play that. Like, so I really don't want to go to territory that I like have no clue about in that. So, like, of course, I played against monsters a lot, but that faction just doesn't suit me, and I feel like I shouldn't say anything in that sense. Like when I actually don't play it myself, I
That's
don't
fair, dude. That's fair enough. But yeah, no, I agree. Like I play quite a lot of monsters. I do like monsters a lot. I like Eredin. I just not so much as a card, but as a character. And from playing Witcher 3, I just like Eredin. And I think he might be a viable leader again if they change dominance back. And like you said, they might take away from the superiority of AQ if they change dominance back. Just that one change.
So that's all I have for monsters.
Nice. Good job, dudes. Good job. Vil, buddy, what do you have for Scoia'tael, my friend?
Is it the easy one?
Yeah, he did.
Okay, so the first one, wow, thanks guys. So the first one I have is Blue Mountain Elite. It's basically the one body elf that deals 4 damage to the enemy on the row if there's no other units on the row, and it's reach 1. So this card is complete ass, right? It literally never gets value. It's bad. You don't play it. And there's a reason for not playing it. So what I decided to do is I heard a rumor go around that they were going to completely remove reach. I don't know whether this is true or not, but I did hear this. And so I was like, that's pretty interesting. Yeah. So what I did instead is I basically kept the card at 4 provisions, gave it +2 in strength, so it would come out as a 3, and it would like basically deal. It would have to be pretty much the same ability, but instead of dealing 4 damage to one target, it would separate the damage, so you would have like a 3 body that deals, let's say, 1 and 1 damage to 2 random units. Maybe not random, but units of your choice, which could help up in setting death blows like Sursa, which might make the card viable again, or like help you with Broken on Sentinels, because usually you are in a situation with Scoia'tael where you basically play Brewer to thin them out, or you play 1-2 Ethna Pings to thin them out, and it's taking away from the value of the leader just to thin. So I think this is a card that supports thinning, and I actually quite like the change myself.
Yeah. I mean, I like it as well. Like it sets up so many things. I mean, it even helps set up someone like Ethne Gigny, which is a deck I generally had fun playing this season. But yeah, no, I like that. I think that's pretty cool, having the ability to separate the damage. Yeah, man. What would you reckon, Semper?
It just sounded like a bit like Archer to me.
Well, I suppose. I mean, similar to Archer, I suppose. But Archer can be 2 damage on the melee row, kind of, or separate on the range row. I think what Vil was saying is play it on either row, and then it gets 4 damage, but you can spread it out. So it's almost like a Malane, basically.
Right. So you can choose. Like,
I think if there's only 3 units there, then they do only does 3 damage rather than 4. Was that right, Vil?
Yeah, something like along those lines. Of course, you don't want to make the card too powerful, because if it came out and dealt 4 damage to 4 different units, and it was 4 prompts, another 3 body. That's insane. Yeah. But just to make the card a bit better, and make a card that is good against Araka's Queen other than melee, and make a card that supports thinning. And thinning is the theme I went for here.
Yeah. Ooh. Nice, man. What's your next choice, dude?
My next choice is quite simple. It's Dwarven Mercenary, the 3-bodied dwarf that basically deals damage whenever you play a dwarf. Mm-hmm. Now this is like an engine that's 3. It always gets removed. It's a bad card. So what I decided to do is I basically just gave it +1 strength, and if you had a dwarf on board, it would have seal.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, that's a simple change that could definitely be. I can actually see CDPR actually doing something like that. You might win a prize on that one, mate. But yeah, I think 4 bodies good, makes it harder to remove, and the zeal is pretty cool.
Seems solid to me.
Yeah. Good job, Vil. Final choice, my dude.
my last choice would be Waylay. The card 6 probs, destroy a random enemy if you control an elf on your pod. This is a RNG card. I don't like RNG cards. So I decided, again, thinning theme. I kept the same provisions, but instead of it destroying a random enemy, it would basically allow you to look at random 2 bronze elves from your deck and play one.
Yeah, that makes sense. 6 provisions.
So, 6 provisions. If you control an elf, play Waylay, and you can summon like another bronze elf from your deck.
Yep.
I like that.
Yeah, I think that works pretty well. Cool. I'll tell you, you two could actually generally get jobs over at CDPR, mate, and as card designers.
This is the good thing about being a competitive player, right? Because you kind of know what kind of balance cards look like.
Yeah. No, agreed. Yeah, good job, Vil, my friend. Good job, dude. Well, I'll wrap us up with Northern Realms because I'll go through the cards and I think we want to have a little chat, don't we, about Northern Realms as a faction.
Yeah, so go with your cards, and once you finish your cards, and then we'll talk about Northern Realms.
Well, I was going to go down like a meme route here and make them like way overpowered because I was like, they kind of need it. But no, I didn't. I made, again, some pretty simple changes, but what we done was Lyrian Cavalry, the guy that is often played with Portal, play a card of Order, and it boosts by 1. I would just simply make it play a card of Order, boost by 2. I went through 3 decks I had with Northern Realms made up. There's not actually like tons of Order decks, Order cards in there. The issue I feel like I have at the moment is they come out at 3. They don't boost straight away. They just get removed like straight off the board.
Boost by 2. I feel like that's a bit too excessive.
Do you think?
Yeah, because like for me, like the Hensel, let's say the Hensel, for example, that played only Order. It was probably like you probably find it's like 10, maybe more.
I suppose you could go down the route of look at Nilfgaard, Nausicaa Sergeant. That only boosts by 1, doesn't it? With deploying, it's the exact same kind of mechanic.
Yeah, exactly. It's literally the exact same card, isn't it?
Yeah,
just catering to the faction style of play.
Yeah,
but I mean, boost by 2,
a little bit too excessive.
I think that's way too excessive.
Sorry, Vil. I think Vil's gone for a second. But anyway, okay. Yeah, I mean, it could be excessive, but I mean, Northern Realms need it, right? They need a boost by 5 every time we play a
no, but I mean, let's say you play Portal with Lyrian Cavalry, right? And then they don't. Let's say they just, for instance, they don't touch your 2 cavalry.
Yeah.
And then you play Arbalist with Hensel leader Arbalist. Then you've got 2 7s. You've got an Arbalist, and then you've got a 7-powered Arbalist.
That is tempo.
Way out of hand.
That's almost like you're playing Syndicate. Next, I went with Cadwini Cavalry. I hope I'm saying that right.
Cadwini
Cavalry, yeah, which is currently a 4/4, but I would make it a 4/5, and it would be. So at the moment, it's a very weird card. Comes out, remove all the charges from an enemy and damage an enemy by that amount or something ridiculous like that. But I would do it as basically damage an enemy by the amount of charges you currently have on the board. So if you have stockpiling charges, obviously always dangerous when you're playing Northern Realms. But if you have managed to stockpile 5 charges between your units, you play this guy and he comes out and damages. So he's 4/5, but if he damages a card by 5 because you've got 5 charges left in your cards.
I don't mind that change. I mean, I'd have to see that in play. I'd have to see that kind of card tested.
Yeah,
but I feel like the idea in this isn't wrong.
I just feel like Northern Realms struggle for like straight up face aggro, like face removal. Like they have removal, but it has to be played with zeal, or it has to be you have to use Foltest on it, or you have to wait for the order to tick to get that good removal. And I feel like having a card that can link with charges on the board as well as give you straight up removal, I just feel like it's a card that they desperately need. And the final one was Dun Banner, which originally is a 3/5. I would up its power to 4 and keep it at 5 provisions. And I would so you play it between 2 soldiers. So play between 2 soldiers, you damage by 3. Gain zeal, you damage by 3. I would put deploy damage by 3, and if adjacent to 2 soldiers, give zeal to another unit. So much like Vez. So you do 3 face value damage for it, and then if you play it between two soldiers and it doesn't get removed by next turn, the next card you play, you could give zeal with that card.
So it's like Dun Banner with Temerian Drummer's ability.
Yeah, basically, but it does the free thing. But you have to play it between 2 soldiers.
Yeah,
is the cut about there.
So so if you remove a soldier, like if you play the dumb banner between the soldiers, if you remove one of the soldiers,
It can't.
it
has to be adjacent to 2 soldiers.
Yeah, but if you remove one soldier before your opponent's next turn starts, does the Zeal ability still trigger?
No, because it will just be. I guess it will be an order ability. So I'm guessing it will just be order ability. Give Zeal to another unit if adjacent to 2 soldiers. So the order ability will be there. Yeah. It will just be red until you could then effectively play a soldier next to it that has an order ability to then pop the Zeal, to then give the Zeal to the soldier you just played to then get the ability off.
I mean, I could even see this card being a thing without like the requirement of it being in between like 2 soldiers. Like I would even be fine with the card getting to trigger the Zeal ability, even if you didn't in your next turn have 2 soldiers next to it, because let's face it, NR's real problem is that there's too many orders. You can't really do anything, and when and if you can, it's either locked, removed, or the card literally your opponent doesn't care about it because it's bad. It does nothing. So I would even see like this card without like the requirement of you having to have 2 soldiers adjacent to it.
Yeah, and keep the free face value, so like damage by 3 and give Zeal. Would you keep that? Yeah?
I would keep that. Like, this is the kind of bronze, like, Anna has, there are some powerful bronzes, but they all are order. And I would like to see a powerful bronze that isn't an order.
Yeah, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. Which kind of, I mean, Ville, what a hero he is. We like to call him Segway Queen over here because he has led us perfectly into the final part, which is we just want to chat about Northern Realms in general, about the current state of the faction, because I think we all agree they are for lack of a better term, the weakest faction in the game at the moment. There's a reason not many people are playing them a lot. Yes, there's the odd good deck, the kind of faultist kind of, is it Patricia spam deck kind of, that's it's got its value. Henselt has some okay decks going around, but overall, I think we agree they're not in the best place, right, guys?
I agree, but I think it's not as, it's far more complicated.
Yeah.
Because
do you want to kick us off, mate? Because you this was kind of your idea actually about the whole NR discussion. So Senpai, right. Ball's in your court, dude.
Right. So for me, because since Homecoming, it's been a very heavy control, right, with 2 brackets around it, removal net, right. So therefore, NR is never going to be good because it's all order. It's all based off trying to let your engine survive for you to get value. So if we swing it the way around and the removal wasn't as valuable and it was an all engine meta, NR would be instantly on top because then everybody would want to go first. Just play your engines, you remove your opponent's engines, and then NR just becomes extremely strong. But then it's become way out of hand.
Yep.
Because it's so based on the kind of who goes first. Because I feel like if you go first, your engines get online quicker. So for me, within the current state of Gwent, the NR needs what Nilfgaard got was a rework. It needs a complete rework of the whole faction without losing its identity. Like obviously it's the engine faction.
Yeah.
But yet it will never survive in the current state of Gwent as it is at the moment. So for me, NR would need a complete rework on the cards, golds. I mean not all the cards, but you know, like the staple cards, the core needs a rework completely.
How would you make them fit in line with the current kind of, I say the current meta, let's be honest, the way Homecoming is set up is a lot more of an aggressive game. I was the same as you. I played very little beta and then jumped into Homecoming. And so Homecoming is kind of Gwent for me, barring what I played in Witcher 3. And how would you make the adjustments to make them fall in line with the ongoing meta of just removal?
In all seriousness, I don't actually know how to make NR healthy with I'd have to really think about it, but I don't even think I could come up with an adequate idea.
Do you think, like Ville was saying, have more bronzes that maybe have the ability to give Zeal to other cards, to bigger cards that come. Now the bronzes could still get removed because they have to stay on the board for a turn, and that maybe baits out some removal that then goes off against the bigger guys. But is that one way, do you reckon?
I don't know. I feel like the more, let's say, the more deploy cards you put in an R, right?
Yeah.
Without the meta changing, an R loses its identity as the engine faction, and then will just
Agreed.
become a deploy faction. Let's say. I'm not, obviously it's not that simple, but I feel like, why would you play an Arbalest which takes 3 turns, let's say, to remove a 3-powered engine when you can just play the example like Pirate Captain, so like their equivalent of, if that makes any sense.
What about if you... I literally just thought of this here. What about if there was like a flip on the Bloodthirst mechanic? And by that, what I mean is...
2 boosted units on your side.
Yeah, basically 2 boosted units. You deploy with a shield. So you play an order card, but it comes out with a shield if you have 2 boosted units on your side or 3 boosted units on your side. Would that help?
I mean, it might help. Again, that would have to be tested within the current state.
Yeah.
But it still poses the thing of, oh, that's boosted, I'll just hit that once. Let's say you're playing Crack. You ping it once, it's lost its boost, right?
Yeah.
So it's still kind of similar, and then you're just playing...
I mean, it's true, but then you play Anna with me. If you play Anna, you boost Anna, you then boost 3 cards. Crack can only ping 1 of them. I still have 2 boosts on my side.
Yeah, I know, like, obviously, you can play around Bloodthirst. So, obviously, you can play around the opposite, if that makes sense. So, like, oh, that's boosted, I'll hit it down.
Yeah.
But obviously, you can still make it work.
Yeah.
But I'm not, like I said, I think it's just a far more complicated situation than the community could probably solve.
I do agree with you. I do agree. And I mean, that is the hardest thing, isn't it? Because, I mean, a lot of people, understandably, I'm going to say, don't like Syndicate because they are a very, very powerful faction. But I think what you have to look at Syndicate and appreciate with Syndicate is how well they synergize as a faction and how well they have an identity. They have a clear identity. Everyone knows what that identity is. Yes, there's a little bit of kind of jankiness and annoyance around that identity, but they have an identity. Skellige have a nice identity. It works. Their Bloodthirst, their self-harming stuff, or self-damage. I shouldn't really say self-harming, but their self-damaging stuff is a nice mechanic. Is a nice synergy. Nilfgaard are kind of getting there, and like you said, the hardest thing is going to be making NR not only playable but competitive, and keep that engine synergy. It's super tough. I don't know if Ville's got anything to add in on it. Yeah, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be
No, not really. Basically agree with mostly with everything you said.
Yeah, it's tough. It is tough. We were saying, I don't know if you call it Ville, but we were saying that maybe if we had like an opposite of Bloodthirst, and maybe if you had a certain amount of boosted cards your side, shield cards can deploy with a shield. Do you think having a shield on an order ability order card would help?
Of course it would help, like it prevents them from getting insta-killed, and if you have a card that's order, it's usually a good card and it gets removed. So yeah, I like that, but then maybe there are certain situations where that might be a bit broken, but then again you can always them up in provisions if you feel like it.
Yeah, it's tough though. It's gonna be interesting to see how they what they announce with the bronze buffs. Have they confirmed it is the end of this month? I was trying to find information on it. I can't find anything where they confirmed that actually the end of this month they're definitely buffing bronzes. Has anyone heard that's confirmed?
I'm not actually too sure when the exact change is happening, to be honest.
That's what I thought. A lot of people are saying, oh, I can't wait to the end of the month, can't wait for a new season. I keep thinking, I've not actually heard that they're going to be all done. I mean, that is a lot of work, because I still think we still see some Syndicate changes. To then go through 4 factions and rework some, change provisions on a lot of their bronzes in the course of that tweet went out on the July the 1st, in the space of 29 days is insane. I don't think it comes this month, if I'm being honest.
I mean, I highly doubt it. But I mean, I think the only thing that Syndicate might need to change is a slight tweak to bounty, and that's it. Like,
yeah.
As you all know, like, I'm not a fan of Syndicate, like, and it's a very strong faction, but that's the way it's supposed to be. Skellige, again, a lot of people don't like Skellige because it's been on top for so long. But everyone, rather than hating on it and saying that Skellige needs to be nerfed, finally we're getting the all factions up to where Skellige where Skellige is.
Yeah. No, definitely.
So, like, I feel like, again, Syndicate is, like I said, I think it's a well-balanced faction. Bounty is probably just slightly overtuned. But if you tune that down a little bit, you've got two extremely well-balanced factions, and then you just need to get the other four up.
No, I completely agree. And that is it. Tune it down a tiny bit. I know people jump in, like, when I'm streaming, people jump in chat and they'll often be like, Bounty are broken. I hate playing against Syndicate. And I'm like, don't get me wrong, Bounty's strong and broken at times, but I don't think they're nearly as powerful as people first. I mean, obviously we had some changes halfway through, but like Syndicate are beatable. Like, you play against them the right way, you can beat them.
Yeah, of course. It's every faction's beatable, isn't it?
Yeah.
You just have to tech and
that's it.
Your deck's in the right way and tie it in the right way. It's just,
yeah.
I think I was one of them at first. I hated it, completely hated it, and you know, even though I was winning, I still hated it. I didn't like playing it, but obviously it came to me like, obviously it's still a well balanced faction after the hotfix.
Yeah,
like I said, just slightly tuned and it's bang on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in playing a co-op stream with you, and you getting very angry at Syndicate. I found it quite funny myself.
Honestly, I think the only card that made Syndicate problematic was Caleb. Like,
yeah.
If you play guys, you could place 50 bounties and win. But now that it actually has a cooldown, bounties are not as strong because you can't farm them.
Yeah.
Multiple them in one turn, and I think actually it's fine right now. Like, the reason why these factions are good is because they're balanced and they have bronze cards that again have meaning and aren't complete trash and mulligan bait.
Yeah, exactly. I think having bronzes that aren't mulligan fodder is the most important thing.
I mean, you hit that on the head there. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I completely look forward to. I think we all do look forward to seeing what CDPR what they announce and what they change with the bronze cards. And again, guys, if you've got any thoughts, bronze cards, if you agree with us, if you disagree with us, then again, either on YouTube, let us know in the comments, or by all means, head over to the Discord channel that is linked in both description on audio platforms and on YouTube, and let us know over in the Discord as well, guys. What takes us on to the very final little wrap up, guys. Some card lore, some trivia card lore.
Oh,
yeah. Well, we done this last time, and unfortunately, Baby Joseph and Zaid let us down. No one's on the scoreboard yet. No one has got a point yet. And today we are talking or looking at the card Octvist, the dragon card. You guys know the card?
Oh, I love dragons, and we know Octvist.
Good. So Octvist is pretty famous dragon, or a pretty big, powerful dragon from the Witcher world, and had a pretty sizable hoard of treasure. But what I want you guys to answer is, who was the famous hero, whatever you want to call them, famous slayer to take down Octvist, mentioned in the books? Was it A, Ike of Den Els? Was it B, Jarpen Zigrin? Or was it C, Vesemir, who was on a trial to prove himself as a Witcher? We go to Semper first.
I mean, I've just got to go with a 1 in 3 guess, Anna, really.
Well, you played Gwent. You've played Gwent. Like, is there a clue in Gwent? I don't know.
I mean, oh, it sucks so bad. I look like a right idiot. I
mean, Baby Joseph and Zay have both played the games. They didn't get it right last time, so you're fine.
I mean, so Ike, as far as I'm aware, came in Thronebreaker. Vesemir is a Witcher.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna give you the hint that Ike was actually also in the books.
Ike is in the books.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Alright, I'll just go with Ike then.
So you're going with Ike of Den Els, okay? I feel like Ville might know this one, but Ville, do you know, buddy?
Yeah, it's Jarpen Zigrin.
I was gonna go, B. You told me all of it. Unbelievable.
I was trying to bait you off the set. I didn't know.
I thought it was going to be a too obvious of an answer. I was just going to go with the middle one, and you talked me out of it. Ville, we're supposed to be teammates, man.
You've always complained that you were shit at law.
I've been stabbed in the back.
So I will say, it is Jarpen Zigrin and his dwarfs. So Ike of Den Els is a famous dragon slayer from the books. You first find him in the books in Swords of Destiny, the second book, or book B as a lot of people call it, the second short story book, and he's actually hunting a dragon when you first find him. Yarp and Zigrin, this is where you also hear about, you first meet Yarp and Zigrin, and you also get told in that same short story that he was the one who famously claimed to take down Octfist. Vesemir, something that some people might not know, witches don't often hunt dragons. Dragons aren't seen as monsters, and there's many reasons witches don't hunt dragons. I won't get into that right here. But yeah, Yarp and Zigrin is the card, means Ville's the first person on the scoreboard. Good job, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I make a note of this over the whole course of the year. See which TRS member can get the most.
I want a star by my name for that because I got robbed.
No, you got to stick to your guns. You got to stick to your guns.
I cannot believe it. I'm so sorry.
Books. Well, how's that gonna impact? You know what? Whatever.
But yeah, guys, that has been the What's Up Gwent podcast, episode 2. I want to say a massive thanks to our heroes for stopping by, giving up their evening to sit down and chat Gwent. Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, no problem, man. Loved it.
Good man.
What more is it to do with this time of night?
Exactly. Well, just play Gwent. That is it, mate. That is it. Play Gwent. But no, and also an even bigger thank you to you guys sitting in your cars. Maybe you're in the shower, in the bath, and you're just thinking about us while you're in the bath. It's a little bit weird, but you know, you're only human.
Right.
But no, thank you so much to you guys at home or wherever you are listening to us. It's the reason we do this content is so we can kind of chat about Gwent and obviously get it out there to you guys. And the previous episode 1, I got a huge, overwhelming positive response from it. The listen numbers were through the roof, and it's overwhelming when, not just for me who edits the stuff, but for these guys as well who give up their evening. When you guys put the time in to listen to stuff, it's very nice. So a massive thank you to you guys. And like I said, if you do have any topics you want us to talk about, then let us know in the Discord or in the comments below, because we are open to having community kind of inspired topics, shall we say, or Gwent listener style topics.
Or at me on Twitter, and I'll pass it on.
That's it.
At SemperEU.
At SemperEU on Twitter. And Ville, where can we find you on Twitter, dude?
Yeah, like I said, to twitch.tv/VilleKSK, and then you can also find me on Twitter, twitter.com/VilleKS as well.
Yeah, cool. VilleKSK is where you can find him there. And if you do want to find me at all, I am at What's Up Woody on Twitter and on Twitch. But once again, guys, thank you so much for stopping by and listening. Hopefully you had fun. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And we will see you halfway through the month for episode 3. Until then, guys, just keep being amazing, and see you later. Goodbye.